Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our dear ISB and ISBC and all the viewers on our social media. We miss you. Actually, like it's getting a long time. We haven't been to our mosque and we've been communicating virtually over social media. But this does not eliminate the fact that we really miss each and every one of you. May Allah elevate this as soon as possible so that we can unite back and at least see each other while praying together, inshallah. I hope you're enjoying Ramadan with your families and with your kids. And inshallah, all the best will happen. We do supplication to Allah, we make dua so that Allah, inshallah, will elevate this as soon as possible. Having said that, we've been like on WhatsApp group with Al-Marhama. Some of you know the Marhama and some of you not. However, we saw like increasing number of their activities in the past month. So we thought to have one of the board members and the founders of Al-Marhama with us today so that he can answer the questions. What's going on? Why is all of a sudden all those activities? Is it related to Corona? Is it something else? And what challenges do they have? At the same time, what should we do Islamically so that we'll be ready, whatever this word means to you. And this episode this time it's a factual one. This is like we know that we are hopeful and we will survive this all together, inshallah. However, as a Muslim, you have to be always ready so that when the time comes, you're ready to leave. May Allah bless you all, and please join me welcoming our beloved, dear community member and Imam Ismail Fenni. Ismail, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Habibna? How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for making the time.
It's all my pleasure. It's all my pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and to address our community, inshallah.
Ameen, Imam Ismail. Imam Ismail, just before going into our interview today, actually, we're all like heard, I would say, the sad news that's happened yesterday on a very blessed day, which is Friday, in a very blessed month, the loss of our dear Justice Ismail Laher. We lost him, and I just don't want to go into our interview without making dua to Justice Laher.
Yes.
So why don't we start by making dua? He was buried like 1 hour ago. So why don't we make dua with you and with all our community members to say Ameen so that we start our episode, inshallah. Please.
Ameen, Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa salatu wa salam ala sayyidil mursalin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وصحبه اجمعين. Allahumma, we say, oh Allah, make him of your righteous servants. Oh Allah, accept him in the ranks of the Salihin and of those servants of yours who are righteous and close to you. Oh Allah, forgive his sins. And we ask Allah to make his grave a place or a part of the valley of a Jannah. We ask Allah that he gives his family patience to deal with this tragedy. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he allows us to follow in his footsteps in being righteous and to grant him the highest place in Jannah, in paradise, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during this blessed month, during these blessed days of the month of Ramadan, what we think of Justice Laher Ismail as a righteous person, as a person who has all his life that we have, all the time that we have known him, to always have been a generous person, to have been a person who always was afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who always making dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be accepted in the ranks of of his righteous servants.
Amen.
We ask Allah, most especially for his family. They have gone through a tragedy. They have lost their mother, and now a few weeks later they have lost their father. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them the strength to deal with the tragedy, and we ask all of inshallah to be granted peace and forgiveness during these days of these blessed days of the month of Ramadan. وصلي وسلم على سيدنا وسلم أجمعين. آمين يا رب.
آمين آمين آمين. اللهم تقبل. آمين. اللهم تقبل. So Imam, let's go into our like interview, and let's start by asking you the question: what is al-marhama exactly, and what do you do?
Now, so first and foremost, I am very grateful to you all for inviting me and Al-Marhama to be able to address and to share with our community what Al-Marhama truly is. Al-Marhama is nothing less than a service that is offered to be a resource for our community during a time of need, during a time of a tragedy. Many of us, and especially those who have immigrated to this country, to this society, we always come with the understanding that when the end of time for us comes, that somebody will take care of us, that somebody will be there for us to put us and find for us a resting place, a final resting place. But in fact, that is with many of us, we tend to leave the particularities and the decision making process for that time to our family members and to others to take care of. Many of us do not know what is involved to be buried in this country. And many are faced with a dilemma of what to do, not only with the decision of what to do with their loved ones, but also with the decision, the financial decision that they have to face to be able to come to rest or put the body of their loved one to rest. And Marhama had come to give answers to those two questions, to be able to help during those two situations, both in terms of providing guidance, but also to be able to provide the best of services for our community. Marhama started about close to more than 11 years ago with exactly that purpose, that objective in mind. Alhamdulillah, today it has grown to a point where it is able to answer the call of many families who are facing the tragedy of death and the tragedy of losing one of their loved ones. It is not a happy time, as I'm sure everyone realizes, but it is nonetheless a time that a family faces and is in a dire need of guidance. What is it that Al-Marhama offers? I can maybe elaborate on that with your next questions, inshallah. But the vision and the purpose of Al-Marhama is to be there for the families when they are facing such a tragedy, when they are facing such a loss, to provide them with guidance, to provide them with comfort, so as to alleviate from their burdens, from their shoulders, the details of what is needed to put to rest their loved one.
Jazakallah khairan, Imam Ismail. To put to rest, I would try to use like more, this is very nice word, but to bury our beloved ones. So put them to where the journey was, inshallah. And sometimes like we don't plan for that.
Yes.
For example, while I'm with you right now live, I don't think that I will die. So I'm thinking that if I'm dying, I will die. My wife will start like calling someone, but I didn't plan for that. So shall I give like my wife Al-Marhama Facebook page? Shall I give her like your number? Shall I give her like Sid's phone number? how to access a marhama service. What is the way to access a marhama
Yes.
service?
No. So we do have a Facebook page, and we do have contact information on that Facebook page. And alhamdulillah, to be honest, throughout this last decade, the community has come to know who Al-Marhama is, and many know what our contacts are. But certainly, we do have a Facebook page that contains not only our telephone number, but also other information that may be needed to be of use to the family.
And you respond promptly.
We have.
You respond to those inquiries.
Yes, and we try. Yes, and we try to do our best to even if it is at 2 a.m, we try to do our best to respond to the call of the family. Mind you, it's a time, like I said, it's a time of tragedy for the family. Something that hits the family, as you said, no one is really, no matter how you think you may be prepared, you really are not truly prepared until it happens. All you can do is anticipate the steps that you might be needing to take, and that's exactly where Al-Marhama comes in. To be able to provide guidance throughout those steps, and also to provide some level of comfort so that the family can really have some, can be alleviated of its burden during that tragic time. But again, we have a staff that is with us, and we also have other resources that we make available, and we use to be able to answer the call for families. Many don't even. Yeah, many don't even know what cemetery that they can go to, or what or which ones are available Islamically. And this is one of the requirements that is in our deen, that a person, when they are buried according to the Shara, according to the Islamic ritual.
And this is would be my next question, but just before leaving this point. So for our audience, anyone who would like to contact Al-Marhama, they can reach out to the community members. They can reach out through the Facebook, or the phone number. Sedge is very well known in our community. We can reach out to say, or the family member of the deceased can reach out to Ismail Fenni, or Imam Ismail Fenni, or Sedge, inshallah. Now, since the COVID-19 pandemic, I've witnessed an increasing number of the messages coming from Marhama. And usually before the COVID-19, we used to have one message, I would say every a week or 2 weeks, one burial at a time. However, since last March, I've been seeing more frequent messages, people who left this world, and some messages even say that, hey, there's 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 janazah at a time. So my first question, and I know that you might not want to answer this one because I know that's how it is what it is. Is it COVID related, Imam? And what is the relation right now between burying and COVID? Are you witnessing an increasing number because of that? Or what's going on the Marhama end?
No. Thank you, Jazakallah khair, for asking that question. And the short answer is yes, indeed, we have witnessed an increase. Just to give you a sense of the increase, since the beginning of the year, of this year, 2020, to about March, this is 3 months, just before the beginning of the pandemic, we had about close to 36 janazas. In the last month and a half, meaning since the beginning of the pandemic, and the enforcement of the rules of the pandemic, we had on this about 1.5, about 30 janaza. In 1 month and a half, 30 janaza. Just to give you another, back in 2015, the whole year, we had 93 janazas. So a third of that number in 1.5 months. So, yani, subhanAllah, it has been yani, quite an increase. The increase obviously is because our community, alhamdulillah, has grown to a large number. But also the COVID-19 has had an effect. Of those cases, this past month and a half, maybe I think we have about 14, we had 14 cases of COVID-19, 14 janazas because of COVID-19. And the remainder are for different medical reasons. So within our community, I think the thinking is that COVID-19 is something that happens to somebody else, when in fact, our reality says it touches everyone, including our community. And perhaps this is a good opportunity for us to make sure and to stress on our community members to really observe and follow the guidelines, the health, the different bodies of social health within the state and within the city are advising us to maintain social distancing. We need to understand that it is to our benefit, and we need to make sure that we are enforcing those even within our home if there is a need to do so. But it is the reason for the increase. So 14 of 30 is almost half. Still 15 janazas a month is quite a large number. We compare this to prior years where we had 6, less than 10. But certainly there's quite an increase. Alhamdulillah, we have been trying to answer the call for each and every one of them. Sometimes we have 2, 3 janazas a day. With all this being said, if we try to compare ourselves to other cities, for example, New York City, which is not too far from us, where there are days where they have 15 janazas a day, and it's only for the Muslim community. يعني سبحان الله إن الله وإنا إليه. So there is an increase, but I think most importantly we have for us to be able to decrease this number, especially those janazas related to COVID-19. We really ask and we want to stress to our community members to observe the guidelines, to observe social distancing as much as possible, inshallah.
May Allah bless you and protect you for what you are doing. I'm imagining the amount of work on your shoulders so that you could do hostel and go there and like open and wash and all the stuff. May Allah bless you all. So my question is any challenges that COVID-19 introduced to the ritual of hostel?
Absolutely. And subhanallah, and as you know, for when there's a janazah, it's part of the sunnah to do the ghusl of the deceased, to do the kafan, and to perfume the deceased, and then to do salat al-janazah in jama'ah, to make dua in jama'ah, so that the blessings of the dua would benefit the deceased. And of course, to have a janazah procession going to the cemetery. With COVID-19 and the obligation to abide by the social distancing rules as imposed to us by the state and by, in fact, by our social condition, things have been extremely challenging. In many cases, and especially in the cases where we have someone who is deceased because of COVID-19, there is no ghusl, for example. We cannot do ghusl. So the body is not washed. The procession, the salat al-janazah is not held in the usual way because of the imposition of the social distancing. Many cemeteries, if not all of the cemeteries, are also imposing social distancing. Many have now instituted policies where you cannot have more than a certain number of attendees. 10 at most, 15 sometimes are an extreme for some cemeteries. Number of people that are allowed to attend a janazah. Within our community, this is a time for us to all gather and to make dua and to be present and to bid farewell to to our loved one. And COVID-19 comes to prevent us from doing just that. So yes, it has changed our Islamic rituals. It has affected our process in how we honor our deceased and how we put to rest our loved ones. And I want to stress here that, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with the staff that is very diligent and has jumped to the task and then some. To not only answer the call of families, but also to take all precautions, to always be and try to adhere to the best of manners in putting to rest and providing the service to the family. Both Brother Jawad as well as Brother Sijuddin. They both, there are days where they go 24 hours. They're trying to service our community. So may Allah bless them and may Allah reward them. Inshallah.
I can imagine the amount of work on their shoulders, but may Allah reward them. Even like we cannot make enough dua. Allah reward them, inshallah. Sijja and Jawad and yourself. So, but it's like all this stuff, like not cleaning the body and social distancing, is this like Shara'i? Are we doing anything that's against the Shara, or like, because I've heard some scholars say that you can sprinkle water from a distance. So are we doing the thing within the Sharia thing?
Yes, alhamdulillah. We always consult and make sure that we are doing both the whole process from ghusl all the way to the dafn, to the interment itself, according to the Sharia, inshallah. So because of the conditions that we are going through, the social conditions that we're going through, we cannot allow, and this is per the orders of the medical profession, to avoid any contamination, that we're not allowed to touch the body, and we are only allowed to handle them using special equipment and protection, the personal protection equipment that is acquired by the health professionals. Dealing with cases of COVID-19. So that is the process that we take. Had it been not for COVID-19, there were things that would allow the families, for example, to come and see their loved one, to allow others to be able to attend the janazah. But because of COVID-19, we are not able to do that. We cannot do that. Shar'an, tayammum, or what has been practiced by some as tayammum, is not something that is adopted by all funeral homes, Islamic funeral homes. Tayammum Shar'an is really meant for salat. So someone who cannot make wudu for one reason or another, cannot use water, they use tayammum. But for ghusl, usually it is acquired to do the full ghusl. In such cases as a deceased person, tayammum is done really to satisfy the requests of the families, and to give a peace of mind to the community that the person has been at least given a semblance of ghusl. But Shar'an, they would be done, they would be taken and handled in the same way as a shaheed would be. No ghusl, there would be a semblance of kafan, and then put into the ground as the inimical disease would be. Plus, of course, the Salat al-Janaza afterwards, inshallah.
Imam Ismail, wallahi, may Allah bless you again. We feel like confident by having those competent people behind us in the marhama, wallahi, mashallah. It's not easy when you try to communicate this piece of information. I'm imagining someone who's like, let's say that, so let's put this assumption. Someone who's sick, he has to go to the hospital by himself, no visits, and then he will pass away by himself, and then family members are not there, and then he will be buried by himself. I understand that we have to be ready for this moment. However, how is the communication piece that Marhama is doing with the family members? How is this piece going on? How are you convincing the family members that you don't attend the host and then the prayers?
Well, with a lot of care. with a lot of care. As we all can imagine, like I said, it's a tragic time, and the last thing that you are going to be able to communicate with the family is something that follows logic. It's a very emotional time for them, a time of a very stressful time. We try our best to let them know that these are the policies and these are the regulations that are imposed upon us. And as Muslims, we have to follow the rules that are imposed on us, especially when it comes to medical rules. The medical professionals, doctors and others have clearly stated to us that if there's a COVID-19 case, that they come usually in body bags, and those body bags are sealed and they're closed, so no one can touch directly the body. Opening the body bag exposes those around the body to whatever might be in the air and might be a potential risk for all those around. And we try to explain this to the family. That perhaps once there's a coffin, they can see them from afar, but they cannot touch them. They cannot. Many want to kiss them or bid them farewell, and they cannot do that either. Very difficult, extremely difficult. We had a father who had lost his son very recently. How do you? What excuse would you give to a parent like that who wants to see his son for the last time? You can't, but you have to try, and we do our best in not only involving them in the process of what we do and how we do it, but also in making sure that they understand that this is something. In fact, the best thing they could do is to make dua for them, and the dua is what serves and what helps and what is a benefit to deceased, whether it be a close relative or someone from our community. A dua is the best thing that can be offered to be of benefit to someone passing. Looking at them, seeing them is not going to make it's really for us. We are the ones who mourn the passing of our loved ones, and so it makes it very difficult for us. But we have to understand that they are now in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that they are in a much better place. If we are to help them, if we are to benefit them, we should make dua for them, inshallah.
Ameen. Well, Imam, yani, mashallah, may Allah bless you. I have like the hadith that said that man ahabba liqa Allah, habba Allah liqa'ah. And looks like in order to Allah, we have to pass through al-marhama. So having said that, we have to be ready. Two things before, like I would like to use those minutes wisely. Do you have the will al-wasiyya written on marhama side? How can I would like to write my will, and I was reluctant, but right now with the COVID-19, yes. I would like to, and we have like tons of questions about will. So how can you help in that?
Yes, so we can certainly. I mean, first and foremost, we live in a social environment that has laws and regulations, especially when it comes to writing and having a last will. Those laws and regulations stipulate that you have to have something that is legally acceptable. We have a template, Islamic template, a template for an Islamic will. That we can certainly put on our Facebook page or on our web page, available for everyone. But it's only a template. But a last will within in this country has to be legalized, has to be notarized, and it has to have more than one copy. So a person can leave a copy with them and a copy with their family members or their close ones, or their loved ones. This way, if something should happen to them, their last will is available. And Shar'an, this is a wajib for every Muslim to have a last will. Rasul had urged us that whoever, in the meaning of whoever has something to bequeath, to leave, that they cannot spend one night or two nights without having their last will written
under the pillow.
By their bedside.
Yeah.
Under the pillow, yes. Meaning close to them. So something that is an obligation. So the template that we can have on our website and our Facebook page can serve as a way for our members or the members of our community to look at and to be able to emulate. But we recommend that a legal process is also taken up by our committee members to make sure that last will is going to be taken into account when time comes. So it's not just a matter of writing it; it has to be written, and it has to be notarized, and yes,
May Allah
and if
bless you,
somebody
Imam Ismail.
who's
I know that we went over time, but I would like to an extra 2 minutes.
we did.
How can we help? How can the viewers? How can we help Al-Marhama? What kind of needs, or like what's the ask for Marhama, so that ISBCC or all our viewers can help in that? How can we help you guys?
Allah yabarak feek. Jazakumullah khair for asking that question. Many of our excuse me. Many of our committee members, as I said earlier, are not aware of the needs and requirements of those days or of that time when each one of us time does come to us. We have many members of our community who are financially in need. Al-Marhama calls upon our community to help in those cases. We have helped many families, and we are trying to maintain that level of help. And mashallah, MCSS also has been instrumental and a very good partner in helping in this process, both in providing financial help, but also in giving or sharing some awareness about Al-Marhama needs. Right now, the most urgent need, as we see it approaching, especially during these difficult times, is really financial. Al-Marhama is looking to also acquire and provide resting places like cemeteries, and we will be sharing that with our community very soon, inshallah. But the most urgent at this point, and the most urgent need, because of the volume that we are witnessing of janazas, is mostly financial. We have a testing group, which we will provide a link to in our Facebook. We urge people to know to register and to be part of that group. We announce the janazas, but also we announce when there is a need for financial help for our community members, inshallah.
Perfect. Please make those links available. We'd like to post them on the ISBC website. Let's post them on this talk, and we reach out to Sage. We'll have it. Anyone would like to donate to Marhama, please make it easy and accessible so that they can donate. And instead of like gathering money for the people after they pass away, actually, this is the time. Donate now, so that when we meet Allah, at least there's some money as
Allah barak feek.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Absolutely, yes. Inshallah, yes.
It's a always pleasure. Well, I miss you personally. You know that I miss you personally. Well, I miss you.
Allah barak feek. Allah barak feek. I miss you too.
Time will come, inshallah. Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan for the time.
Allah barak feek. Jazakumullah khair. Wa yakum. May Allah accept from you, inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.